I'm Norris and welcome back to another sew along. Today we'll be working on my latest No Me pattern design, which is ME2117, and it is a workout shirt, view A and view B. The only difference is the length of the sleeves. Now if you're new to sewing or just want to brush up on your skills a bit, you can go to sewedacademy.com where you can learn all the basics, and if you go now you can sign up for a free trial just to see if you like it. Now let's get started. Okay, so once again, like I said, this is my new No Me pattern design, which is ME2117. And we're going to be working on view A and B. Now, the only difference between the two is one is short sleeves and one is long sleeves. I will be doing the short sleeve version, but if you want to do the long sleeve version, it's basically going to be the same exact steps. And as you can see, this is a workout outfit. So this shirt is going to have a little less ease than what you're used to in your typical t-shirt. Now, if you look to the back, we have fabric suggestions up top. And as far as sizes, you want to take your measurements and see where you fall in. And if you look all the way to the bottom, finished garment measurements are located on the actual instructions. So if you get your pattern instructions, you'll see what that measurement will be once you sew it all the way up. Now that we have all this information, let's go ahead and go through all the pattern pieces we're going to need for view A or view B. Okay, so we're going to need pattern piece number 2, which is the back. You want to cut one on the fold. The fold is right here. Pattern piece number 1, this is the front. You want to cut one on the fold, and the fold is here. Pattern piece number 3, now this is the sleeve. You want to cut 2 of these out of your fabric. As you can see right here at the bottom at the hem, it says cut here for view A. Now if you want it view B, it's going to be a little bit longer. And last but not least, you're going to need pattern piece number 4, which is the neckband, and you want to cut one out of fabric. So once you cut all of your pattern pieces out of fabric, we can begin order of construction. Okay, so I have my front piece right here, and because this is a rag and sleeve, we don't have a shoulder seam. You'll see the seams here on the front and also in the back connected to the sleeves. And what you want to do is grab one of your sleeves. There's a single notch here for the front, and then there's a double notch for the back. So what we're going to do is we're going to align that single notch with the front, and we're going to pin. Okay, and then I'm going to grab my other sleeve and do the same exact thing. So then we're going to head to the machine. We're going to stitch both sides down here using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Okay, now that we sewed this side, you want to sew the other side the same exact way. Okay, now as you can see, we have the sleeves attached to the front, and I went ahead and finished off my seams with a serge. And you can use pinking shears or you can just trim them off because fabric like this typically don't fray. This is a knit and some really nice athletic gear. But if you do have a serger, you can serge that off and then also press them. I press my seams towards my sleeve. And then now we're going to do the same exact thing to the back. Now, so I'm gonna move this out the way for right now. You want to grab your back piece. Okay. And with right sides facing, we're going to take this other part of the sleeve with the double notch and match up the double notch here that's on the back piece. And then we're going to pin. Okay, so then we're going to head back to the machine. You want to stitch this down using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. Once you do that, come back and we'll continue. Okay, so I have the back attached and I press that seam towards the sleeve, as you can see. And then now I'm going to turn it around where the front is facing up. And before I close out the side seams, I'm going to go ahead and finish up the neckline with the neckband. So in my experience, depending on how stretchy your fabric is, the length of the neckband is pretty standard, I would say, when it comes to all patterns. But sometimes I have to go in maybe another inch, between 1.5 inches to 1 inch, just so it can snap a little bit more. So once you sew it up and put it on, you want your neckband to lay flat. You don't want it to stick up. That's real goofy. You don't want a standing up neckband. So you can go ahead and try the 5/8 of an inch, which is the seam allowance. So basically what we do is we want to go ahead and place them right sides facing. There's a notch to match up. I'm gonna go ahead and pin just to keep it in place. And then we're just going to stitch across here. Like I said, 5/8 of an inch is the seam allowance, but I'm probably gonna go in about another between 3/4 to an inch, just so mine can snap on just a bit more. I won't advise you to do that just yet. Go ahead and do this, and then once we start putting it on the neckline, we can see if we need to make any adjustments. I've already made this before. As you can see, I'm way beyond my 5/8 of an inch. I know how much more I have to go in, especially because I know the type of fabric that I'm working with. But like I said before, since this is your first time, use the 5/8 of an inch, and then we can make the adjustments once we attach it to the neckline. Now I put a notch in the center back so I can match that center back up with this back seam on the neckband. Give it a pin. There are 2 notches in the front, and then there's also a notch on the sleeve too at the top. So if you made any adjustments to this neckband, it's going to be smaller. So that means your side notches are going to move a little bit. So they don't have to necessarily match up if you did make adjustments, but you do want to get them sort of close to where they would be. You will have a little gap in between because this does supposed to snap on. Okay, so now that I have the neckband attached to the neckline, let's head to the machine. We're going to stitch using 3/8 of an inch seam allowance all the way around. Now, because this is a horizontal stitch, it goes around your neck. It will be moving like this, so it would be good to use a stretch stitch and not your regular standard straight stitch if your machine has it. And if your machine don't have a stretch stitch, you can use a narrow zigzag stitch for the neckline. Okay, so once again, like I said, you're going to pull just a bit, and we're going to be stitching. And this is 3/8 of an inch, and make sure that you're using a narrow zigzag stitch or a stretch stitch because it will be going around your neck. Okay, now I should have mentioned this before, but if you don't know if this is going to lay flat after you press it, it's better to do a basting stitch first. That way you can more or less know if you need to take in more without stitching it too much. But once you get the desired fit, you go ahead and finish off your seams with a serge. Okay, so I'm back from the machine. As you can see, I went ahead and serged as well, and I gave it a really good press. Now I can just tell just by looking at it that it's gonna snap on, but I already tried it on. It lays flat on my neck and also on the back, and that's how you want your neckband to fit. As you can see, it just snaps. It snaps on. You don't, if it was standing straight up like this, it'll be way too loose. Okay, so once you get yours how you want it, give it a good press and we can move on. So next step, we're going to close out the side seam. So the right side's facing. We're going to pin under the arm and then also that side seam here. There should be notches for you to pin first. Definitely make sure that you pin where those seams meet. Okay, just like this. So now we're going to head to the machine. We're going to stitch using 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, starting from the sleeve hem, going all the way down to the hem of the shirt, and then you want to pin and sew your other side the same exact way. Now, because this is a vertical stitch, it's not necessarily going over the circumference of your body. You can use a regular straight stitch. Okay, so we're back from the machine. I went ahead and stitched the side seam, and then on the inside, I went ahead and cleaned that off with a serge and pressed my seams towards the back. Now, only thing left to do is the hem of the sleeve, which is 1.5 inches, and then also the hem of the shirt, which is 1.5 inches. And after you do that, give it a good press, and you're all done. All right, congratulations. I hope you enjoyed this sew along, and be sure to tag me on all your amazing makes at Norris Danta Ford, and I will see you in the next sew along.